This episode, summer tips. Well, folks, it's that time of year again. Guess what? It's time to go through that summertime checklist. Time to get some stuff done before it gets so hot you're not going to be able to stand it. Welcome to the Handyman Pros Radio Show. Home improvement and maintenance tips from the pros. Thanks for listening to another edition of the Handyman Pros Radio Show, where our goal is to help save you time, money, and aggravation on your home maintenance and repair. This edition is entitled Summer Tips. To help me explain, I'm here with my ever-cheerful co-host and old buddy, Mr. Summer Tip himself.
That's it.
John, what's going on
It's all
this week?
summer here.
Anything? Any exciting
It's a
news?
sunny summer here.
Johnny's been spending most of his summertime working down at his HOA pool because they had a bad winter checklist. So it's made for a busy summertime job list for John. So.
Yeah, it has. It has. You know, that thing's as old as my house too. So that whole thing is, you know, folks, when your homes and stuff, you know, 25, 30 years, man, I tell you, things are changing. I mean, I used to be a good-looking guy myself, and
I was just gonna say, wait a minute.
And now look what happened.
I used to have lots of energy. I used to be young. I used to have hair. You know,
30
right?
30 years ago. Now look at that.
God. Yeah,
it's like got a new roof.
This, that. All right, well, folks, before we dive right into this one, which we're going to, please like and subscribe both our YouTube and our podcast channels. It helps us get the word out there. It makes the algorithms look around. Johnny told me the other day that AI actually now moves part of us to that, or moves some people to the Handyman Pros Radio Show, which is pretty exciting. That's kind of the whole goal. We're trying to get this content out there that really helps you. So with that, Johnny, let's get into some summertime tips.
I'll tell you what. I'm going to start off by going back. You know, one of the things that I use all the time now is that misting fan.
Oh yeah, the misting fan. Yeah,
that thing. I'm telling you, that thing is.
Explain what it is, John. Just so
well,
you
know, folks, you know that Larry and I have Ryobi stuff, and you know, matter of fact, we did a show about absolutes, and we didn't talk too much about the tools, but I haven't broken one really yet, so I'm good with it. But one of the things that they have is this fan that you put on top of a 5-gallon bucket or whatever else that thing will fit on, and it's got a hose
water
in it.
source. Yeah,
and you just drop it down in drop the hose down in there, and this thing shoots out mist onto in the fan, and it has two speeds on the pump and 2 speeds on the fan itself. And that thing kicks out a lot of mist. I use it all the time,
which is a cooling unit. It's a cooling unit.
Yeah.
Swamp coolers, we used to call them, right?
Well, it's a little different, but I'll tell you, it's the same methodology, right?
Yep.
I take it down to the pool. Yeah, you'll be guys. If you get one of these things, they're not that expensive, and you'll be the hit of the pool. I'll tell you that much. That thing works great. Anyways. So,
Johnny, the question is, will you be hit on at the pool? That's my question.
Nah, not anymore, Larry. although it is 2024, so you never know what you're going to run
into. I'm going to leave what's going through my head off right now. We're not going to talk about that.
So we want.
But you did. I just wanted to start. This one wasn't on our summer safety or on our summer checklist, but I want to add it right now, and it has to do with, you just mentioned it because you're talking about your fan. Is be aware of summer safety tips, right? So these are kind of the same sorts of things. I didn't really think about it, but as the weather gets hot and you're out working in it, keep a hat on, keep yourself cool, make sure you're drinking enough fluids. All of those safety tips. I forget about it, John, and I actually I've started, repacking my cooler with a lot of water now, a lot for the day.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, my one of the things that my brother-in-law does, he always puts in bottles of water in his freezer at night, and he takes them uses it as ice
and or to drink.
So you're not get two for one there.
Two for one. Yeah.
Yeah, that it can be a very dangerous situation working outside, and you don't know that you're getting dehydrated, and you can pass out.
Yeah, and even just like in my handyman business, just for example, this week I told you I was doing it. Didn't tell the listeners, but I built a closet for a customer this week. And anyway, it wasn't that it was hot, but it was in and out. So I was in the air conditioning, out of the air conditioning, in the air conditioning, out of the air conditioning. And it would, while it wouldn't overwhelm me, I will say by the end of the day, I had consumed about a half a gallon of water because I just was thirsty, you know, and that's not just working outside. I mean, when it's hot, you have to keep yourself hydrated, and and keep your head covered, and you know, wear the appropriate clothes and all that stuff, sunscreen and all that good groovy stuff. But remember, it's summertime. Summer safety tips are always, you know, a plus. So I just wanted to add that one because you were talking about your fan for cooling reasons, right? You're self cooling with that fan, which I think that fan is so cool. Anyway, I haven't bought one, but it's really cool. Works really good.
It does. So a couple of things, folks, since it's summer, you know, now's the time to think about, you know, perhaps changing the direction of your ceiling fans.
And what's the other tip, John, when you do that?
Clean them.
Clean them. I was going to say.
Because guess what happens when you change the direction?
At least I'm glad to know it's not only just my house, right? So, folks, if you've never changed your ceiling fan direction, I'm just gonna. I know it sounds stupid, right? Turn the fan off, go up and clean the blades off, because when you turn them around, and don't do this over the bed with the white sheets, when you turn the fan direction around, all the damn lint and crap that is caught on top of the thing comes off when the direction turn. Not all of it, but a lot of it comes off. So clean the top of the fan blades before you turn it back on, because the dirt and dust comes off, and it always does amaze me how much dirt and dust your ceiling fans pick up over the course of just running them in normal usage. It's really amazing. No, I think it's amazing.
You're easily amused.
I'm easily amused. Get off my lawn, damn it, Johnny. I'll tell you, I got to laugh. We've used that for the past few shows. We keep alluding to get off my lawn, and I just turned the magic age of 60 not all that long ago. And Johnny, I know you're a little bit older than me, and you've been that way, but I actually used to get aggravated when I was young because the old guys would do that. Now guess who's doing it?
Yeah.
Me, right? Me. I'm like, oh man, you know, get off my lawn. Jeez. I've become my most feared thing, an old curmudgeon. Oh well, whatever. I don't care. That's what I've come to learn too.
God, you are nasty old. It's
you know what? It's in the famous words of Archie Bunker. There you go.
God, I hope I never get your age.
Thanks, Johnny. Love you too.
All right, Larry, give us another tip here for our folks out there. That's here comes summer right now, hitting us in the face.
Yep, it's time to do power washing. Yep. And Johnny, speaking of that, Johnny, the other day I was I always run through the clearance aisles at both Lowe's and Home Depot when I'm in. And guess what I found for my pressure washer? Yeah, well, usually it depends. Depends whether I'm having a 70s streaking flashback. Yeah. Anyway, I found a foam applicator. Johnny, I paid $7.98 for a foam applicator for my pressure washer. So I was very pleased with my find. But I wanted to mention that when we do the power washing on the old thing, you use the foam cannon. Foam cannon, yeah, foam cannon. Yep. And you spray on the mix of what do we spray?
Bleach and Dawn.
Bleach and Dawn, and give the proportions while we're talking.
Oh, that's a good one. Fill the whole bottle up with bleach, and then just put in about, just squeeze a bunch of Dawn in there. That's it, and then shake it up a little bit. Enough. You'll know when it's enough when it starts to come out and it looks like snow.
Yeah, it comes out. It comes stuff.
I just did
fill it up with bleach. You use solid straight bleach in your.
Yeah, because it gets diluted coming out.
Oh yeah, that's right. Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, my bad.
So it works like a charm. I'm telling you, I do my house probably twice a year, once in the spring, once in the fall, and it just takes all the crud, all the algae, everything off, and actually the paint looks fantastic still. Yeah. I can't believe it.
Yeah. And we talk about using the Dawn because the Dawn puts a little bit of film over the top of the mixture.
It holds it
to the wall a little longer.
It covers it, because if you can find a cloudy day to do it, you're even better off, because the longer the bleach can act on it, you know, and don't leave it on the windows too long. Get that off of there pretty quick so it doesn't, you know, stick to the windows, you know, the bleach itself.
Yep.
But it's a great thing to do. Do your driveway, do your sidewalk with it, the whole thing.
Yep. Yep, use the foam. Yeah, use the foam can. I
Everything.
was I was thrilled because I didn't have one yet, and I was walking. I literally was walking down the aisle. I'm like, oh, I've been wanting one of
Yeah.
those things. There it
Yeah.
is. And I was like, that's a really good price on one, by the way.
Yep.
But you can
Yeah.
get them at Amazon. You can get them all over the
Yeah.
place. But yeah, time to pressure wash the exterior surfaces because the weather's nice. And here in Atlanta, folks, we live outside of north of Atlanta, Georgia. The mold and mildew is like
Yeah, it's like
it's
just
crazy.
about just like any place. It just builds up. The
It
crap
builds
just
up.
builds up, and
Yep.
just get rid of it. Plus, you know, boy, it sure does smell nice afterwards. I'll tell you that.
Well,
Just make sure you wash down your bushes and stuff and your plants
right.
while you're doing it with fresh water.
With fresh water, right? Because it'll kill your plants and stuff if you're go too crazy. All
Yeah.
right, what's the next one, John?
Um, if you have spaces that get really humid and stuff, and stick a fan in there.
Mm-hmm.
I have
Give an example.
I have a neighbor. Well, my neighbor actually has a bathroom that never had a fan in it,
Oh,
and yeah, it was an extra bathroom. So we installed a fan in there, and now nowadays the fans are pretty big too. I mean, there's a lot of CFM that those things, but if you're gonna do it, folks, and you got to put one in from the get go, the brand new ones, get a big one.
get a
So-
one that pulls your hair up. When
Yeah,
you turn
it
on.
just yeah.
Or sucks your hair.
You'll
up.
be happy. You'll be happy that to get all that humidity out of the bathroom and stuff like that. Because in the summer, man, that stuff is it'll hang around
It hangs, and then it causes other issues. It
with
mold and
your
mildew.
paint, your drywall, and
Your
everything
paint,
else.
yeah, your drywall, the whole thing. Get the moisture out, and same thing in the attics too. If you've got
Yep.
a space, and if you go up in the attic and it's like too hot, and too hot is relative, right? But if you go up in there and you're draining buckets, and if you take a temperature up there and it's 150 degrees in your attic, that's too hot.
Yeah.
So 120, believe it or not, is not considered too hot, but 150 is. So if you've got that, you need to look at a power vent for some kind of power vent for your in your gable or something. Put a fan up there to get some air out, to get that hot air
'Cause I
out.
think you guys out there can correct me, but I think the code changed a while ago that all these new roofs and everything have to have a the ridge vents.
The ridge vents,
on
yeah.
the top.
Pretty sure that's the case.
Which I didn't have
Right.
originally.
Right.
And I'll tell you, after I had the new roof put on years ago, it made a huge difference.
It does, but it's still not foolproof. I've been in attics with ridge vents, and it's still excessively
it'll
hot.
get hot.
Yeah, excessively hot.
It'll get hot.
And so
And
you need to get that hot
I'll
air out.
And I'll give you another tip. If you take Larry's tip there and put a power vent up there, buy the best power vent that you can. And I'll tell you why. Because there's a difference in the quality of the motors in those things. And you don't want to go back there a couple years later and that thing just locks up and seizes up like mine did.
And they do. And they do.
Because I had one. I had a power vent up there before.
And FYI, they're usually on a thermostatic switch as well, so they come on and off as they heat up. So just so you know, if you've never done one, they're actually, well, I'm going to say it's an easy install if you can get to where you need to mount it, if it's not so tight, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, it's always an interesting endeavor to cut a big hole in the top of your roof.
Oh, I don't do them in the roofs. I do them in the gables. I put them up in the gables.
I had mine going through the roof. So
yeah, no.
Yeah.
I don't because I don't screw with a roof. Unless we're replacing the roof, then I might do it. But chances are I'm going to leave it in the gables because you can move that air off that ridge just as effectively. And generally the houses that I've put them in are exactly what John and I are talking about. They're older homes that have gable vents in the edges, on the outside edges anyway.
Yeah.
And so they don't have the ridge vent up over the top. They just have gable vents. And I've put several of them into those out into the edges where it just blows the air basically through the house. It's open on one end and it's pulling air through
pulling
it,
air across your attic.
moving air across your attic.
Yeah, and it's a good thing to have if you can get the moisture out of your attic. And keep the air moving up there.
Yeah, and it actually does a bunch of different things as far as the advantages to doing it. It saves your roof, believe it or not. It actually adds longevity to your roof. It also helps with your heating and cooling. So your home is a breathing, living entity, and it needs to have that cushion of hot air out of there. So anyway, blah blah blah. But that's time to do that. Time to look at that. I think the next one we're looking at install, basically inspect and repair your fences and gates. Boy, gates are one of my favorite repair jobs, John, because I can't tell you how many people have gates that don't work worth a flip because they weren't installed right, they weren't built right, they weren't latched right, they've moved over time, et cetera, et cetera. It's on we did a show on bug list. It's one of my bug list items.
Yeah, those things are just if they're not done right, they will never work right.
Yeah, well, it's a combination of that, and then the other side of it is that they are generally very large moving objects, much like your
there's a
garage
lot
door.
of moment on those hinges.
A lot of moment, and they're heavy.
Yeah,
and so
no,
they tend to get out of whack.
Yeah.
On the gate part of it, and then your fences. You need to, your fence is a maintenance item. You got to keep it up.
And the other thing, since I'll bring it up. I've been working on my deck for like forever now. So I think during the summer, guys, if you haven't gone out and looked at your deck and taken the splinters out of your deck and stuff, your kids are going to find them. So
yeah, it's time because you're going to be like John. You're going to be working on it for the next 6 years.
Right,
Johnny's going to be into this. Johnny's going to be into the next cycle when the first boards he put down started rotting again. Right after all the time he's been doing it, board by board.
You can read all about it in my next upcoming book.
All right, Johnny, give us the next one.
The next one always escapes me all the time, but it's a good tip, is eliminate the mosquito breeding areas.
So what is that? Explain that.
Gutters, you got tires in the back of your house or pots or whatever that's just got standing water in it.
Standing water.
Anything like that, get rid of it. Or in any of those areas, just be cognizant that that's where those mosquitoes are going to be breeding. I mean,
yeah. It's a really good tip, actually. And it's always those little things. So to give you, this is the old farmer in me, to give you a couple of different techniques on how to do that. One is get rid of the water. Like if you have tires that are full of water, drain them out, just tip them or throw them away. How about throw them away? Right? If you're not using them, get rid of them is one of the things. But I don't know if you're aware of this, but they do make I forget what they're called. You can get them at Ace Hardware. I know I've seen them there, but they're rings. Tablets. They're tablets, and you drop them in the water. And I don't know what it does. I don't think it's an insecticide. I think it changes the pH of the water, but it will do the same thing. It kills off the larva and no more mosquitoes. So small investment to keep mosquitoes away. You don't need to pay a company to do this stuff, folks. This is really simple. Mosquitoes are kind of easy to get rid of. Get rid of any standing water, pots, pans, gutters, water standing in your gutter because you have too many leaves in there. Maybe it's time to clean your gutters out.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
Things like that. All kinds of things. And by the way, when you clean your gutters out this time of year, wear gloves because there's other things that live in those muddy things, the leaf beds too, that some bite. So it is what it is. But yeah, that's a good one. Standing water in culverts, just anywhere where there's standing water, just be cognizant of it.
I'll tell you what, if the other thing is, folks, if you're looking around right now, like just in the big box store, and you run across some of what's been very successful for me is the hose end sprayer for like the garden or it's a general bug killing type of stuff that you can put in there. Like it lasts for 12 weeks. It's made by Cutter. It's that type of stuff. Put that on the end of your hose and spray all your plants and everything around your deck and all that kind of stuff. And it works great. And it's relatively inexpensive compared to some of the other products that are out there, but and it works great. So
it works good.
Another little tip.
So also one other thing while we're thinking about things that are annoying and icky, leaves of 3, let them be. Right? Which is, John? Explain that one.
Poison ivy, sumac, oak. The vines crawling around. Be careful. Be cognizant. Go look it up on the internet. Make sure you know what you're looking at. If you see it, be careful. Kill it. That oil and that stuff can last on rake handles and stuff throughout the winter.
Long time.
Yeah, I mean, I knew people like in Minnesota that would go into their, in the dead of winter and get poison ivy because it's still
sticking on there.
So just be careful with that stuff.
So
especially if you're allergic to it too.
Yes. Yes, and one of the most simple ways to get rid of it, to your point, John, is if you think it like almost immediate as soon as you realize you're playing around in poison ivy, go back to get some Dawn. Get
Yeah.
anything that is a degreaser, right? I use Dawn because it really works really well. Wash extensively with that degreaser. It takes that oil off your skin and takes the irritant off your skin. It's one of the big things. If you think you've been in it, clean it off and clean it well, and you will reduce your chances of getting poison ivy by a huge amount. So and any other poisonous, sumac or oak or whatever, poison oak, same thing. But do know what those things are, because it's that time of year that stuff's growing like a weed.
Yeah,
and,
it's grown. Yeah,
or it is
that's what it is.
Yeah, I was
it's
say,
grown like
it
is growing like crazy right now. And
Yep.
matter of fact, I've got some right outside my deck, and I got to get rid of it.
Yep.
So,
yeah. What's the next one, Johnny?
you know, I would hope by now that if you've been listening to us, the insulation around your doors and windows.
Yeah, but it goes bad, so we have to remind people constantly
so,
about it, right?
Yeah, it's. I just replaced a whole bunch of it at my neighbor's house. Matter of fact, I just did a couple of doors here. Come to think of it, it's real easy to do. If it's not the bottom one,
right,
around the doors.
Yeah, the door sweep. The door sweep is tough, but the rest of them are easy.
Yeah, the rest of them are. Especially the OEM door sweep that they put on.
Yeah.
those original ones, you got to take the door off.
Yeah, I hate door sweeps. I got to tell you, I hate doing door sweeps.
You know what? I don't know about anybody out there. You can send us comments on this, but my question is, does any of them actually ever really work or last? I mean, every time I turn around, the things, dragging rubber around the place, and I don't know. I'm not gonna get down into the into that. But anyways. They're frustrating to me.
Yeah, and they go bad. It seems too rapid. Well, again, you use your door how many times a day?
Hey, exactly.
That's kind of one of the things. You just use your door a tremendous amount, so it's time.
Yeah.
Good.
It's a good point for everybody out there. You can go check any new technology and let us know what they've got for that stuff.
Yeah, if there's something new, we want to know.
If there's something new, let us know.
Yeah, because we want to, or a new technique on how to do it so that it seals in a different way. I don't care. I mean, whatever. It's all good. Anything works. So, all right. And then another one is it's time. I'm big on this one. Anytime I get up into the attic, I always take a flashlight and I shine my flashlight up in the attic, and I'm looking at the roofing nails, and I'm looking for any dark spots. Right. Yep. Any dark spots, because that's an indication that you have a leak. It's a leak through a nail usually, but it shows where water's getting in, and that water that leaks in your roof doesn't necessarily get to your ceiling most of the time. I would say it actually doesn't get to your ceiling. It just stays up in your roofing and rots your sheeting material off.
Rolls down the 2x6s in the
correct.
The rafters and everything,
and goes out, and can go out your rafters. And the next thing you know, you have a really big repair job that you can. I don't want to say you can circumvent it. You can't really circumvent it, but you can repair it sooner than later, and you can realize you have a potential issue a lot sooner than later, and it can really save you some money, because by the time that roof leaks through your drywall, it's been really leaking for a very long time.
Yeah,
so.
It can be a mess, but so one of my HVAC units is the air handler's up in the attic. So every time I go up there to change the filter,
you're taking a look.
I'm looking, and it's really good. That's really good advice to take a look at that, because that will be the one that really can come back and bite you in the butt.
It can. You brought up another good one on HVAC, John, and thanks for mentioning that, because I didn't think about this one. But it is that time of year to make sure that so in your air conditioning and HVAC system, there is a drain that drains water to the outside. It is time to check and make sure that pipe is actually clear, clear of debris, clear of algae, clear of things that clog it up. Because what can happen, and I've had this happen, so I know it, is that you will get I had algal growth, meaning algae inside the pipe that had grown, and it actually was impeding the flow of the water out of my HVAC unit and caused a leak in my ceiling because it overflowed, basically, right? Mm-hmm. So the water wasn't draining out, it overflowed. I ended up with it wasn't a big repair because we caught it. We didn't have to do drywall work, but we had to kills it and repaint the ceiling, which is expensive, and it could have been avoided, I guess is the point. Remember, our goal is to help save you time, money, and aggravation.
You want to go out on the boat on that Sunday afternoon, but no, there you were painting the ceiling.
Thank you very much. It was basically something like that.
That's your trade-off.
Yep, and that was the trade-off. Very, very simply fixed with a little bit of vinegar or a little bit of bleach. Either way, I use vinegar for that particular one because it's a little less caustic than bleach. But you just basically change the pH inside the pipe. If you have a true clog, you might need to take a little air and blow it through there. Just blow some air pressure through that. The last one I actually did, believe it or not, I just put my mouth over the pipe and blew it out. But I actually felt it let go, right?
Yeah.
And it didn't take much, right?
We folks, and you'll see that's usually the condensation pipe is probably in most cases a piece of PVC that they run down. Mine runs down through over all the rafters and
exactly.
And blah blah down into an outside. Well, I had a wasp nest that they built inside the pipe.
There you go. Inside the pipe.
And it clogged it up, and the next thing I know, it was dumping water out in the emergency pan,
right,
and then out above my door onto the deck.
Oh, there's the reason your deck boards are rotting, Johnny. There's the reason. We figured it out. We got to the root.
It was just another thing. I'm like, yeah, and so yeah, you got to be. So I go up there once a year, and I pour bleach on there, and I also shoot some vinegar up into some of the coils in the other direction. Now they do for you guys really want to get they do have some tablets that you can open up and put in the drip pan inside the A coil, but that thing it's notorious for gunk.
Yes. And one other thing too, that I have this in my house now. So the air conditioning pump, the condenser pump, right, is
so now that's the other thing you're going to run into is a condensate pump.
Right. And we have had here at this house, we have I don't know what it is. It's not mold, but it ends up it's like jelly almost.
That's right.
And I actually take the about once a year, I take the pump apart and I take the pan out and I go wash it out. And there's this kind of clear.
Yeah, that's exactly what it. Yes.
And what is it? Do you know what it is?
It's like an algae.
It's okay. So it's a type of algae.
It's like an algae and it looks like jelly. It's like jelly. It's gross. And I believe that you can't dump. You're not supposed to dump those condensate pumps or anything into the public sewer.
Oh, I'm on septic, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, but I mean that's why they all run them outside onto the lawn and stuff.
Oh, okay, all right.
Yeah, so you guys can check me on that. I think I heard that one time because it's all that kind of stuff. But yeah, I don't. It's gross, isn't it? It's like
it's not that it's gross. If you let it go too long, and I know this,
it'll clog up everything.
It clogs the pump up, and then the pump doesn't pump your condensate water out, right?
Right. So what you want to do there is look at your condensate pump, and there's a couple of little plugs perhaps on the top of it. You want to just pop one of those off and then drop some bleach in there.
Same thing.
And then keep filling it with water until it runs. And keep it running and wash it out.
And wash it out. Yep. That's another way to do it. I happen to be able to, I have access to mine so I can take it apart. It's easier for me to do that than to do that. But if it's not simple, then do what I agree. Yeah. Do what Johnny just said. But that's one that it just grows and this stuff in mine anyway was clear because it's a dark environment, so it's not green.
Yeah,
it's not green.
The other thing I was going to say is it's probably good to do what I'm suggesting anyways, because what it'll do is it'll clear out the rest of the hose. I've got a pretty long run on that thing that goes out all the way across my basement and down the wall and out.
Yep. In my house, those are actually clear PVC.
That's what this
PVC
is.
pipe.
Yeah, that's what this is, and
it's turned green. Yeah, with algae growth.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah. So good idea.
So if that thing gets clogged up, you're going to be in the same situation as the previous conversation we had. So
correct.
It's a good time, guys, and because you're going to be using your air conditioner a lot now.
Well, at least here in the South, we are, right?
Yep. You're going to be using it everywhere. Believe me.
Yeah, pretty much. So, all right, Johnny, do we have anything else on the? There's millions and millions
Yeah,
of
there's
tips.
a whole bunch of stuff. I think we hit probably the highlights here, and hopefully
You hit some good ones. That's for
yeah,
sure.
I hope that this that helps you guys out there. Kind of jog the memory there and rattle the cranium a little bit.
Folks,
speaking of rattling the cranium,
yeah, speaking of rattling the cranium, we talk about this. We try to present this show as two guys sitting around in a bar room having a cocktail and talking about fixing the home, right? And I hope we're enjoyable, because if we're not, well, oh well, too bad, so sad. But anyway, with that, Johnny, what do you think? What do you think the aliens do for their summer checklist on the spaceships? What do you think?
I don't know. I think that's where that jelly stuff comes from, or whatever you're talking about. Oh, yikes.
It is kind of nasty, I got to tell you. It's kind of gross.
It came from outer space.
Ooh, it came from outer space. All right. With that, please hit like and subscribe for us. Help us. It helps us spread the word out there. We really appreciate it. If you do have any questions, comments, or concerns, questions at handymanprosradioshow.com. If you have any show ideas, I know I say this every week, but we love to get ideas. We love to get the feedback from y'all, and if you want to just tell us to wrap it up and just shut this thing down, tell us that too. We don't care. We might do that someday. We never know. But Johnny and I are just, we're already old enough now that we're in this get off my lawn phase. I'm really fixated with this right now, Johnny, because I'm having some issues at the house. Get off my lawn, kid. Just have become my father. Damn it. Oh, anyway. All right. Anyway, so with that, Johnny, take us home.
All
take
right,
us home,
folks. Well, it's summertime. Stay cool. Kill bugs. Check your AC. And
leaves of 3, let it be.
Let it be. That's right. And we'll see you next week on the Handyman Pros Radio Show.